How do you create world-class community in your business? How do you create these community experiences that create loyalty, where people absolutely love doing business with you? How do you create that? Well, I think one of the experts that's mastered this craft is Jay Clouse, Clouse. He is the founder of Creator Science. And he breaks it down into like 3 elements of community experience. And I want us to go over these, and I think this is really important. Whatever you do in your business, there's a form of, whether you're dealing with clients or customers or whatever, there's success that you can generate. Even in if you're a salesperson or a sales manager or any type of leader, this is going to be really important to you. Whether you have a yoga studio, a CrossFit gym, a construction a crew, whatever it may be, this is going to be huge, because there are some things that you can change, and a lot of things you don't need to go out and do a bunch of marketing. You just need to create community with the customers that you have now. So I'm going to break these 3 elements down on world-class community experience. Number 1 is a clear purpose. Now, I'll go over each of these later, but I want to give you the 3. Number 2 is a warm onboarding experience. And number 3 is a gratifying experience to participate. So let's look at number 1, a clear purpose. And this is what he says: a common mistake community builders make is not defining the purpose of the community up front. This is a filter that gets placed. And this is hugely important. You don't need every single client. Some clients are more of a headache. And if you'd have had a filter in the first place, you wouldn't have got that headache client that you're having to figure out what you're going to do. Those clients that take tremendous amounts of time and eat up all your time, you don't need them. They're costing you money. And if you define the purpose of the community up front, they're going to bounce. Because all they are is narcissistic and selfish. And when you turn around and show what community really is and how it's service to others and it's selfless and it's loving each other, then you're going to prevent these type of people from coming in. So this is a really cool filter. And let me get a clear purpose. Let's get this a little bit more detailed. What is the reason you think people join community or are part of community, whether it's a church, an organization, maybe it's an online community, a Facebook group where they just spend hours and hours chatting to each other? Why do they do this? Well, he identifies these 3 ways. Number 1, to connect with others and feel like they belong or feel cared for by others. Are you doing this in your process at your work, in your business? Are you connecting others? Do they feel like they belong? Do they feel cared for by others? Number 2, to transform and level themselves up together with others. There's something that's going to allow them to transform together. This is why church is so effective. It's cared for. They feel like they belong. They can transform and level them, become more spiritual together with others. And then number 3, to find a sense of identity with people who have the same belief. If your purpose is not clear, what's your purpose? You need to define that. I don't know what it is, Jason. I've been in business for 10 years. I don't have a clear purpose. Well, take 2 days off, 3 days off, drive 8-10 hours away, or hop on a plane and go to an Airbnb next to an ocean, change the environment. Just you. Don't get on your phone or your laptop and do any work, and all you're going to do is focus on purpose. I guarantee you the $300 plane ticket and the Airbnb costs you $150, $200 a night, whatever. You're going to get that all back 100-fold. If you can articulate your purpose to your community, to your employees, to your clients, your customers, what is your purpose? Have a clear, define it. You should be able to easily share it with others and also have it written down. And everyone should know your purpose. It's filters. It shows how they can care with customers, how they share with each other, employees. The list goes on and on. And I want to talk about the first one, to connect with others and feel like they belong or feel cared for by others. I went to a jiu-jitsu gym once and really wanted to go to this jiu-jitsu gym. But it was so horrible, the onboarding process. and getting to a class and trying to get a hold of somebody. The process was absolutely horrific. And I went and I was really disappointed because you could just see all these holes, and it was like no one really wanted to talk to me. I felt like I was an outsider. I didn't know what to do. There was no rules were explained to me. And I imagine if somebody's brand new to jiu-jitsu and they wanted to come to this facility, and it's here in Albuquerque, they wanted to come to this facility, and such a nice facility, but they had no system or processes for onboarding people. And I know they've probably gone through so many amount of people just because of this one problem. If you own a gym, it is so important that you onboard and create community. Not just in the onboarding process, but continually. The least you can do is write a weekly or monthly email, but I would be getting involved in those programs that track your fitness and track when you log into the gym and do all that. I would make those investments so that people are getting emails constantly about, hey, great job. You checked in 4 times at the gym this week. That's more than you normally do. Stuff like that. So important. You have to create community. And what is the same belief? A sense of identity with people who have the same belief. Most people don't have an identity, and they look for it externally. And that's not the way it should be, but a lot of people's conscious level just isn't there. And they need a sense of identity, and they get that by collectively coming together with a common belief. What's your belief? What do you believe? Why would people want to get together with you? A clear purpose. This is so important. And you say, well, I have a construction company. Yeah, how many employees do you have? Do you have community amongst employees? Are you guys going and having beers and hanging out and everybody feels like they're involved? Are you coaching? Are you leading? Are you training? Somebody's an expert in something and you highlight that to everybody else and have them train the rest of your employees in how great of a hammer swinger they are, or they found like these tricks and tips and they can share with others how to save time. And you can highlight people and show them how much of an expert they are, especially when they work with their hands. People love that. And then number 2, a warm onboarding experience. First impressions last. And that's what I'm saying. I will always remember this. I will always remember this jiu-jitsu gym and the way I felt. Luckily, one guy that was kind of felt sorry for me, kind of helped me out a little bit, a student. And I don't know if they do it on purpose because they only want people that are, that maybe they think it's like a resistance thing. And if you really want it, you'll do it. But that's like sales floors, like evolution. And I only want crocodiles and sharks. That's such an old school mentality. People don't operate that way. What if it was a warm onboarding experience? What if this nice jiu-jitsu gym that had, beautiful facilities, what if their first impression was amazing? I would still be there. I would still be training. I would have been a part of that and with community. A warm onboarding experience. No matter what business you have, you can have a warm onboarding experience. Do you have systems in place? Do your employees know what that is? Or are you just letting them wing it with you always onboarding? You're like, well, I just own a restaurant. Do you have their emails? Are you sending out emails? Do you want to pack your restaurant? Create community. People will go there over and over and over. Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Go through that old school. Some of you don't know it. Some of you are young, but there was a tavern that was called Cheers, and it was a TV show, and everybody came every day and had a couple beers and would bullshit and talk, and it was community. That's exactly what it was. What type of onboarding experience do you have? No matter what you do, you should have a warm onboarding experience for your customers, your clients, whatever it may be. It's true when you meet people for a first date or an interview. It also applies to community experiences. When you set people for success during the community onboarding, they're more likely to stick around and become active participants in your community. First impressions. You only get one chance to make a first impression. It's that first date. How well does that date go? A lot of times you're not going to get a second chance. Feel like you're dating your customers. What does that look like? Let your employees know that, hey, this is like a first date. We need to make a good impression. Reward that. Give away Starbucks gift cards. When somebody says, hey, Teresa did an amazing job with this customer the other day. Cool. I'm going to highlight Teresa. Next big meeting, I'm going to make sure I put that in my notes. The first thing we talk about, Teresa, come on up. Teresa, I heard that you did this, this, and this with this customer, and they were complaining, and this happened, and you went above and beyond, and you did this and this. I think let's all just give a hand and appreciation. Teresa, I really, this is the type of employee that I love, and I appreciate you working for us. And I just want you to know this is exceptional, and I want to give you this gift to let you know this. I've done this, and people's cried. Men and women, they're crying in a team meeting. What type of loyalty and community do you have based off of that? And all I'm doing is rewarding them for treating a customer exceptionally. And what do they feel from that? Because in our higher self, when we serve others, that's where we get the most joy. And I think community onboarding is what it should be called, and that experience and going through the experience. And there's so many books on this. And I did a whole podcast on high-end hotels and how they do it. Look at what the Four Seasons does when they go into trash cans and find what people were eating. They find a Snicker bar. Somebody ate a Snicker bar or a keto bar or whatever. And then the next, they come in, they're gone, and then they come back, and one of those new bars are sitting there for them. So beautiful. Such cool little things that you can do that doesn't cost anything, that creates a lifelong impression and loyal. One of the things that you can do, and they use an example as a CrossFit gym, shown around the space, introduced to other CrossFitters, trained on the tools around you. A friend, partner, or mentor is there to help. You plan and schedule to help see your physical transformation. You're taking pictures. They give you swag and freebies to help you start, seeing yourself as a CrossFitter. You get they give you a t-shirt or something like that you can wear with others. And it's just a great onboarding, and it leads to what? 3 big things: connection, identity, and transformation. Connection, identity, and transformation. And I want to get into number 3 for sake of time. A gratifying experience to participate. If your community has a clear purpose, then your goal is to deliver on that promise as soon as possible. When community members achieve that goal, they gain a sense of gratification, when the dictionary defines as a pleasure gained from the satisfaction of a desire. And the problem that we have in business, we want ROI, we want to measure everything. It's hard to measure gratification, isn't it? That's why most leaders track engagement, not gratification. And I think this is hugely important. Maybe you own an auto dealership and you have customers. How do you track gratification over engagement? Because high engagement metrics aren't always directed to happiness of the community as a whole. This is really important. Engagement doesn't equal happiness. You need to be creative and find a better way to measure success for your individual community. Maybe it's retention rates. Maybe it's positive feedback. How many surveys are you getting? How many referrals are you getting? What are those referrals saying? How many times are you getting stories told to you about how your employees are treating their customers? How many rewards are you giving out for that? These are different things that you can measure that you need to write down and get specific on. So here are the 3 elements of world-class community experience. And Jay goes into more detail, and he talks about and there's a podcast on this, on an episode of the Marketing Power Up show. And you can just type in Marketing Power Ups show, and you'll see the 3 elements of world-class communities. So you can be able to listen to that. But he talks about some ways to measure community happiness, how the power of belief is a game changer, and then the most important question when onboarding new community members. He gets into that, so I encourage you. I'll put it in the show notes. I encourage you to look at this and understand onboarding community. That creates a high ROI. It allows you to even, get this, to raise your prices. You can raise your prices with new clients, continue to raise their prices till you feel a resistance. The greater the community, the more value it creates, the more cost that you can have on that. So I encourage you guys, study this out, listen to this podcast, If you have any questions, you can DM me. Please follow me on Instagram at ABQ Jason Rigby.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.